Every powerful photograph has an even more powerful story behind it. Africa for me is home. I love the sounds, I love the smells, I love the vibrance that there is in Africa, especially in the African bush, and I feel most complete when I'm out there in the bush. Working with people is incredible, but working with wildlife is perhaps even more colorful. But unfortunately, you can't move them around as you would a model in a studio set. You can't tell them where to stand. You can't tell them to dress a particular way. It's definitely a story with no script. And that's why I'm super stoked about today's topic, because it's one I've been wanting to have for a long time. A fun chat with some folks who share a similar passion. We will be talking about the fascinating genre of wildlife photography and linking it to conservation as well. So, thank you so much for joining in. We'll have this and more when we return after the break. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Jonathan Benaya podcast, a show that is wild, very wild. We try to put out a new episode every Sunday with discussions ranging around how to make the natural world a better place, creating awesome images, telling stories with words, wildlife films and photography, with occasional musings on sound and tech. I do share a lot of my own personal experiences, and from time to time, I'll have one or two guests on the podcast to share some insightful discussions. If you are fascinated about the natural world, especially natural history films and photography, environmental conservation, and African travel at large, this podcast will have you in a spin. So thank you so much for tuning in and enjoy your time here. What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to the Jonathan Benaya podcast, where we talk the earth, images, wildlife films and photography, and occasionally music. Now today I'm joined by three very awesome guests who you'll get to meet in a bit, and they're all quite uniquely gifted in their different disciplines. I'll go ahead and introduce them. Maybe we'll start with Peter. Peter is quite a notable, very well-known wildlife photographer. I know him from several other walks of life as well. He does two operations as well. Just recently, he was running an upcountry lodge property as well. But he'll give us an update of what's going on with his life and just basically a bit about himself. Yeah, so over to you, Peter. How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been a while, a long one. Life is good. Life is fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to put my neck out there, but I'm starting to correct you. I'm actually no longer at the lodge.
Ah, okay.
We tried it. We left that venture behind. We gave it a year to see what happened, and then we said, let's move on.
Okay.
I still run Volcanoes Safaris for a company, and of course my photography. I just realized how miserable I must have failed because I'm trying to live my life a bit private and not making too much fuss about myself.
Yeah. I had to pull you out of that.
But actually, I mean, for me, it's a bit of a contradiction because on one hand, I like to be private, and on the other hand, you have to show yourself out there to what you do, and showing yourself in pictures, right?
Absolutely.
And I get a bit mesmerized about your introduction to this, about feelings about Africa and the challenges in wildlife photography and things, and you got it really spot on.
Yeah, thanks.
So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for allowing to come onto the podcast and also for hosting us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if you tune in, we're actually recording this from Peter's location. All right, now let me jump to Becky. Now, Becky is an old friend of mine. We've known each other for a while. I hope it's fine that I can call you Becky, by the way.
It's okay.
Yeah, so Becky is a safari expert. I know her from, she wears quite a number of hats, but Most particularly, I know her as a very experienced safari planner with one of my most favorite safari brands. That's Volcanoes Safaris. Yeah, so Becky, welcome to the podcast. How have you been?
Thank you, Jonathan. I've been good. I've been fine.
Okay.
After COVID, everything is now getting back to normal, and we're happy to sell safaris again and welcome guests. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here to talk about photography, wildlife, tourism, conservation. Yeah, it's great to have these conversations, and thank you for the platform.
It is a pleasure. Thank you as well for joining us. And then lastly, the usual suspect. Brian or Jonathan, who you might know from some previous projects that we've worked with him before. Brian is a seasoned tour operator. He runs Braca Tours. He is from time to time also in the bush as an overland tour guide. But most notably, I work with him on projects as one of the most experienced aerial photographers that I know out there. So yes, Brian, you're welcome to the podcast, and thanks for joining us. Let us know what's been of you.
Nothing much, just trying to get up to speed with what is going on, despite the hard times that everybody is facing right now, but we are hopeful for the future. And trying to see how next year will be, and try to bring up the brand. And we don't want to spill so many beans out because it's a bit early, but there are quite a few things we are working on and trying to cook up. Probably we shall bring more people on board.
Yeah. It's good to hear.
Thanks for hosting me today, and Peter, thanks for hosting us once again.
My pleasure.
And we get to share a light moment together.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. So thanks to the three of you for joining the podcast today. If you just tuned in, this particular episode is on wildlife photography, and we are talking about this passion that we have for the bush, but also most notably for the lens. Now, Peter, let me start with you. I just want to pick your mind quickly on there are so many genres of photography. And I know when the bug bites you, you kind of, with all these passions that we have, when you're bitten by the bug, you want to keep going for the honey. But I want to find out, of all the different genres out there, why wildlife photography?
Ooh. Do you want the rude, honest answer?
Yes, please.
Staying away from people. No, I'm joking a little bit. I always had a passion for wildlife and nature. Since I was a kid, always running around playing in the woods. Obviously, in Sweden, you don't get eaten.
Yeah.
So I started my photography journey professionally, 36 years ago. And I've been doing literally everything that you can professionally within photography. And for me, growing up, living in Sweden, wildlife photography and nature has always been very close, but it's also hard to make money out of it. So you're a photographer and you do all these things, but my passion for the wild and getting out. I'm really not a city person. I can't stay long in any town.
Yeah.
You know, I need to get out there.
I think that's most of us, right?
I mean, everyone is nodding, and we all know where we
know
are.
What to go.
Yeah. So being there, whether you're alone or you have a friend, assistant, or whatever with you, but the peace and quiet, the tranquility of being out, doing, whether it started up as camping, enjoying wildlife, and turned into photography.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to why do I like that? I don't know. I always have.
I think I'd have a similar answer as well.
Yeah.
I think the analogy of the bug is what best explains it. Yeah.
and maybe I should explain myself when it came to staying away from people.
Yes.
I like, on one hand, you say you can't move around the animals, right? So you're definitely not in control.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you are in control. My terror is walking in, doing a wedding photography, for example. And you're all these people, and they have their own minds. They're literally telling you what they want or what you want. They want you to do.
Yeah.
And the nightmare of having the bride afterwards saying, well, that was nice, but it wasn't what I wanted. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So let me stick to, nature. You can wait for the right light.
Yes.
You're not control over the light, but you can sit there and wait for it until you have what you want.
Yeah.
For the animals, if they come along, they come along. And if you get a smile, it's you're set.
Yeah.
But you can sit there and wait for what you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I say, even studio photography, moving around models or whatever, it's still a complex situation.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of relief not being in control in nature, but just seeing what happens, what's going on.
Yeah. Wow. Those are some very nice insights already. I like the idea about just the fact that you might not be in control, but there are elements that you are aware of, like, the sunset will probably come out at a particular time. You probably know the wind is blowing from a particular point. Animal behavior being the other thing. But just before I move to Brian to find out what really pushed him into wildlife photography, you did hint about Sweden. You talked about Sweden.
Yeah.
And you said you have quite some wildlife there that you probably were shooting before you came here. What type of wildlife would someone see there? Because I know we're all very African. So
So I hear you. Well, let's go into what we have, not necessarily what you'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
But on the top of the food chain, we have bear, we have brown bear, we have wolves.
Okay.
We have a number of and we have moose, elk, a couple of different variety of deer and small antelope, kind of.
Okay.
Foxes and wild boars, for example.
Okay.
And a quite impressive number of birds, big birds of prey, which is a bit tricky, but they are there. A beautiful landscape.
Okay.
And funny though that when I come to think of it, we are sitting here, and you said you're very African.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm doing nature photography here, and I have people around me and say, look at this, the sunset here. This is the most beautiful sunset in the world. But now there's a difference, right? Because we are standing here, and you all know, photography-wise, you have 15 minutes of sunset here.
Yes.
Exactly.
Or sunrise. It goes up and it's gone, etc.
Yeah.
Now, midsummer in Sweden, you literally have 8 hours of sunset.
Wow.
The sun is slowly setting at the horizon, touches the horizon, doesn't go away, and comes up again. So this 15 minutes of fame we have here for the sunrise or sunset, you can sit and watch that for hours and hours and hours during the midsummer in Sweden.
Wow.
So never gets dark.
Yeah, it's nice to hear.
That's a new experience.
Obviously, there's a negative part to it as well, because in the wintertime, it never gets light.
Gets up.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Let me come to Brian. Brian.
Yes.
What inspired you to go into wildlife photography?
I think it is the curiosity bit. How curious I am about getting out there. I'm not more. I think we share similarities with my brother Peter, but I've never been a person who enjoys the loud crowds and that whole fuss of city life. I always find I'm more of a reserved person, and nature is what I relate to. And when it comes to why I chose wildlife, it's the curiosity to see the cultures, get the experiences, know the foods. It's different from what I have, and among us here, we are all culturally very different. Peter has his unique, maybe foods that he prefers. Becky the same thing, Jonathan the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's what initially brought me into the wildlife photography bit. Okay. And professionally, it's been about 7 years. Right after campus, then that's when I picked up my very first professional camera. But when I was looking at, from way back, that was from childhood, when my dad had those, you remember those film style cameras. Yeah. I was so lucky that from
with
childhood.
The negative.
Exactly. We used to call them negatives. Once water drops on it, that's the end, yeah. So right from childhood, he always had a camera with him, always trying to capture the light moments. And I think that's what drew me closer to the camera. Then the curiosity now kicked in. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that you also touch on culture. You know, we go out to shoot these incredible species, some of which are endangered.
Definitely.
But also the fact that in all these different destinations, they are surrounded by people.
By communities.
So we get to benefit from both worlds. Peter, I'll just come back to you before I go to Becky. We did mention, and we've talked about the fact that you can have control over the elements. But I know there must be some challenges. It's not that every day you'll go out in the bush and come back with amazing photos. There are probably days when you go and everything happens and it's like heaven breaks loose. Then there are days where you come back and you're frustrated with almost nothing. Help us take us through a day in the life of a wildlife photographer. Before people see those stunning photos in print or on the screen, help us understand a bit of what goes on behind the scenes.
This is now, everyone is tuning in hoping that I will tell the stories about planning and preparing and being on top of it and you know, heading out there with everything in control and months of studying. And I'm not like that.
Do you wing it sometimes? Do you just get lucky?
I mean, it's thinking of it. It's a little bit tricky actually for me to answer because on one hand, I really don't prepare. I really don't. I put my camera bag together. I know I have my gear together, right? So, and that's about it. And then I go. On the other hand, as I said, 36, I have 46 years of experience in photography. So the preparation, I think, comes a lot subconscious. I don't really think about it as well. Obviously, I know where I'm going. I know the spots I want to see. I'm thinking about what you know, am I chasing the elephants today, you know? And so mentally, I guess I prepare a lot just along the route. I don't sit down with a paper and a pen and make my trip, you know, itinerary and a time to be and gears to set up and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I do have to stick to, you know, boringly enough maybe, I go along and see what, because as you said, you can't really plan for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I know when the elephants are passing a certain spot in Murchison.
Yeah.
I know where to go to capture the best kingfishers. But I can't plan for it.
Yeah.
Because more than I need to be there at a certain time because I know the animal's got to be there.
Yeah.
More than that, I can't plan.
You can't, yeah.
Bring my camera and that's it.
You can't call them and tell them I'm coming.
No, you can't, right? I mean, I really can't. If you do studio shoots, you're preparing backgrounds and lights and gears and everything. You're preparing people. You have a conversation. What do I want? What do we need to, you know? Yeah. But at least for me, for doing this, I don't know. Maybe it sounds unprofessional. I just go, bring my camera.
Yeah.
Make sure I have everything, of course. You know, batteries are charged, cameras are there, lenses are clean.
Yeah.
But besides from there, that I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think much as you say, probably because you've been doing it for a very long time, much as you say you don't feel like you're planning, there are some things that is a phrase that they use. It's more like muscle memory that you used to,
so.
You know your settings, you know, batteries are charged. I'm a victim of charging a night before and forgetting some batteries in the charger and getting to the bush and I don't have some batteries. Yeah, but what you say is just that muscle memory of just knowing things that you've done over a while. Then when you get to the bush, it's now worrying about other things now, just hoping that nature rewards you for your so many years of doing this thing. Becky, I need to come to you now. Now you've been in this business of selling dream safaris, holidays, making people's dreams come true. But I know in the work that you do, especially for what we would call the contemporary safari of taking people on a 4-wheel drive vehicle or maybe flying them from the airport to a wilderness location. The process of convincing these people, I imagine you use some visuals. Help us understand how valuable, how important is the work that these gentlemen and myself do, and how important is wildlife photography in the day-to-day life of a tour operator or a safari planner, someone who is selling trips.
It's highly important, really, really important, because human beings are visual.
Yeah,
we're visual. Of course, as a safari planner or consultant, usually you will sell and say, you know, in Uganda we have the gorillas, but when someone doesn't have a picture of the gorillas, it's hard to tell. Fine, you can describe, you know, a gorilla and talk about its size and its features, what it eats and everything, but a picture is a tool that aids your communication and helps someone else visualize what they could possibly see on safari. And it draws them in, and you know, they are able to make a decision on what they want to see, where they want to go, if you know, the destinations, the lodges they want to stay at, you know, the activities they want to do. So it aids, it helps us with our communication and packaging trips. You'll find that some itineraries that have pictures, you know, are more captivating than the ones that don't. And then you can sell a safari and speak to a client and even jump on a call and say, let's have a chat. And we say, Uganda is amazing, we have amazing landscapes, you know, we have the gorillas, we have the chimpanzees, and then they'll ask you, do you have a photo of this? Can I have a picture of this? So of course, photography is greatly important. It helps us to tie everything together. Yeah, it helps us to appeal to the sense of sight. Let's say.
And let's not also forget that a lot of people coming, they also actually never seen a lot of these animals.
Yes.
You tell the general tourist that we have cobs, they have no clue what a cob is.
Yes.
They probably know deer and moose, as you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's highly
Which
important.
a lot of people, most people actually as well, only seen in pictures.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. It's easy to assume that people know these things.
No.
Yeah.
It's like he talked about the sunset, you know, in Sweden, and I'm wondering what the sunset is like.
Yeah.
My imagination is going wild at this moment, thinking, what is it like to have the sunset for hours? Would I sit for hours and look at it?
Yeah.
Would I take a break from it? Will I get used to it?
Yes.
So all those questions, you keep questioning. So he just spoke about it. Now I am picturing it in my mind. So you see the word picture comes in. So you want to see, you want to visualize what someone has spoken about. So that's what images do. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful that we hear it from the professionals that are selling trips.
Side, exactly.
Let me come to you, Brian. Of course, Peter has mentioned about the complexities that can happen when you are in the field. You're not always assured of the shot. And I'd like to find out from you how what's the longest it's taken you to get that awesome shot? Be it when you're flying your drone or when you're operating your Sony. What on average, if you could also just tell me, what's the ratio of the number of times you try to the when you get the shot?
Well, when it comes to, for a Sony, well, that's what they say, a cat and mouse game with wildlife. Sometimes you have to do around, and I think you remember from our recent trip to Kidepo, the cat and mouse game we played with the leopard and the young ones. We had to rotate around and try to wait and see if it would come out to capture that moment. But unfortunately, we weren't able to. We just managed to get a bit of shadows out of it. But then when it comes to wild aerial photography, it's quite different. You have so many variables. There's the weather, there's the batteries itself, because literally each battery can take you for about 30. They rate it out for about 45 minutes, but actual sense it's about 30 minutes.
Much less,
Yes. So normally you'd have to take about 2-3 flights to get that, to nail the perfect shot. Because most times you do, maybe the first flight is maybe like scouting to see what are your boundaries, what does the terrain look like from above. Then by the time you nail the shot, maybe you're on your second battery. So literally you're saying, maybe let me wait for about an hour. And it's also the time of day. Normally the best shots always come in the mornings and in the evenings. And my best preferred time to shoot is always in the mornings, because there is that light that comes after the sunrise and with the morning mist, and that creates depth in some of the photos that we try to create. Yes. Okay. So you literally have to, sometimes you have to stalk nature. That's what they call it. Yes.
So basically what you're saying is that if I said the ratio is you try about 25 times and then you get the shot once.
Exactly.
Would that be close to accurate?
That's close to what exactly.
Let's not mention how many. Let's not mention how many times everything happens. While you're changing your batteries.
Exactly, while you're changing your batteries. That is it. Sometimes you might have just brought it down and you're trying to swap out batteries. Let it be a Canon, or it happens to the best of us, even on a normal DSLR. By the time you're swapping out batteries, you may realize there's action going on.
Happening,
and by the time you're fiddling, by the time you get it back, you may be getting it at the tail end of whatever it is.
You capture the tail.
It's funny he says that. Because, us who receive the images, we do not know sometimes how hard it is to
the story behind the shot.
I think there's a time we tried to go to the lodges and get the perfect shot. And then, as you say, like after the sun has come out, and then the natural light, getting that natural, beautiful light and the tones to come out of the images. And you see, those tones, they speak to your emotions somehow. For example, like the tones of the sunset or the sunrise. You either relax, it calms you down, or you get the light coming through a window into a room. Yes. Exactly. So most times when people see such an image, they feel like that was easy. But then I had the opportunity to be around people who are trying to take photographs. It is a job. Yes, behind the scenes. You look at them, they're moving with the camera, setting the lights, they're positioning, they're positioning themselves in different places. And it's underrated sometimes, but it's important. It's important. It's a lot of work. So I get when he says about 25 or 24 times. Yes.
I've actually kind of like preempted something that I wanted to ask you, because I know Volcanoes in particular is one of the few companies that I see that put out quite high quality content, especially on your socials. And I want to find out, do you feel like, because I see a lot of copy and paste and quite a number of companies locally, do you feel like there is a good enough appreciation of wildlife photography, especially in the tourism trade here in Uganda? Do you feel like everyone understands it, or do you go back to what you were saying, that probably people don't know the story behind the shot?
generally, I don't think people understand it. It's a few people in the industry that do understand the essence of it all. And luckily, I work for a company that does actually understand the importance of photography and actually invest in it. It's an investment, but I don't think many companies want to spend on it because they feel like, okay, I'll get a few shots that are similar to what this other person has and then use that. But then when you are selling and you're out there in the market, these images speak for you sometimes before you enter the room. If someone goes to my social media and then, looks through or the company's social media or your page, Peter, or yours, Brian, or Jonathan, they will take you seriously by the shots that you have taken. So if you're not giving it high value, then you miss out on a lot of things. So I think it's underrated for most people here, and they don't see the importance. But if they do, then we're able to sell Uganda as a destination better. Yes, in my opinion. And not that I'm attacking anyone, but I think
no.
I feel that people don't get the essence of it. They don't see the hard work put into it. So maybe you three, when you're out there in the field, maybe you do, reels are now a big thing. You could do a short reel on how it,
that's
the timeline.
It's actually what I wanted to ask Peter. There is this whole thing that I see of late with, especially with these apps that are really playing around with the algorithm. There's a trend with TikTok now. There's a trend with Instagram Reels in particular. And I see quite a number of photographers now doing more than taking the shot, but also capturing the behind the scenes. What do you feel about this, if I could call it pressure, and the urge to tell the story behind the shot? And do you feel like it's impacting on the creative process, on the number of photos maybe we are able to get? Because I imagine if you're having to record a bit of behind the scenes and also get the shot, there's a moment you might be missing.
It's an interesting question. It's interesting situation that have occurred. Obviously, with the social media today, we have come to an era where it's about me.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, selfies has come to a today. Ladies' washrooms in the hotels and restaurant is the most famous room in the establishment. But to answer your question, it took very long for me. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. So it took long for me before I stopped being comfortable at all. Posting selfies, I got over it, and I've been doing for a while. And it is appreciated. And I absolutely, I see the value of it. And I do appreciate the interest. Because I do get, you get some, Peter, okay, so these pictures, so how did you do it? Or I see the response when they see the picture of me, wading up to my waist in muddy water to get a shot. And they appreciate, and they do, as you say, they understand that shot isn't taken from the side of the road and so it does give you appreciation for your work, and acknowledgement of what you're actually doing. I mean, I've been climbing masts and buildings and hanging off bridges to get the shot.
That's the shot.
Yes. And when people realize it really adds value to the photo.
Yes.
And that is appreciated. Sometimes it's not easy because a lot of times you're there on your own. So no one is there to take the picture. But when it's there and when it's due, I think it's good. We should embrace it. And I think it gives us value.
Sorry.
No, I wanted to actually, what we were talking about, the value of photos and the pictures itself. I wanted to add, because I feel it's important to get out there.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit frustrated lately.
Okay.
Because a lot of people they don't understand the value, the efforts, and the cost of taking these pictures.
Yeah.
Someone was asking me some time back, they wanted photos, they wanted gorilla photos, and they wanted exclusive views.
Yes.
I said, yeah, you can have it, but it's going to cost you. Oh, I says, I don't know how much. And they go, well, we have a few $100,000. I says, if I take a unique gorilla photo, coming from Kampala, going to Windy, getting my gorilla permits, I'm putting $1,000 plus to be able to even take a gorilla photo.
Yeah.
And then someone says, well, I'll give you 30,000 and we can use it, right?
Yeah.
It just, and now I haven't even added, the experience to be able to take a good one or thousands of dollars of equipment to keep the quality of doing it.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you have a good way of explaining it to one person, they do understand in the end.
Yeah.
But in the general sense,
the majority
people don't understand that gorilla photo they are copying from my Facebook page and using professional to sell their tours or making money out of it, costed me $1,000, $1,500 to take.
Yeah.
In actual literal cash there and now to be able to go there.
Yes.
Yeah. I can excuse that. Yeah. Well, I had my equipment anyway because I'm a photographer, so I won't add that. Too.
Yeah.
But the actual cost of being able to do it.
But that's the initial cost of getting into it.
Yeah. And personally, I think most times, when people see an image out there, it's passive. Why I say that, sometimes seeing the behind the scenes and everything else, it gets more interactive. Yeah. Because here, someone is able to see the story behind the picture. Then someone is able to see your creativity because, you were hanging off a cliff to take a perfect shot, or you had to, position yourself in a certain way to take a good shot of a gorilla. Then you had to walk for an hour to trek to see these animals. So I think you should, as photographers who go out there and do a good job, you should show us a bit of the behind the scenes so that maybe people will see the value of it and appreciate it. It might take a while, but then I think with time, people may embrace it. Sometimes people think, because you have a very good phone and you took a real one time and you took the perfect shot, you are able to do it. I think it takes a lot of work, and even maintaining your equipment and traveling to these places and paying for the gorilla permits or, taking a flight, the fuel, all these things, all these costs that people don't actually see because they see one perfect shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's why people are unable to give it the value that it's supposed to have.
Yeah, but I think also what Peter said about there are people that you'll explain to and they'll get it.
Yeah.
And there's something that I'm learning from a friend of mine who just said that you just have to learn to say no to some clients. Yeah. This guy will say that when he gets a project, he doesn't want to multitask because the class of clients is getting expect a given level of quality from him. So if he's having to respond to calls about people wanting a high quality image and only willing to pay pennies for it, he's like, I'd rather say no and keep the relationship than...
a short funny story here, but people understanding. It was like I was shooting a launch. We were there 3 full days. Yes. We came 3 full days and then we left. And they complained, they were disappointed afterwards and about my work. I said, and I was like, I delivered. I sincerely delivered good stuff.
Yeah.
And he sends me a picture. But you see, Peter, this is what we wanted. This is something one of our clients just took up with his phone the other day. And the thing was, he sent me a picture of this room when the sun stares through, right?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We were talking about this light coming through the windows and the morning breakfast in bed, right? Yeah, we were up there with 4 days of rain.
No sun. No sun.
No sun. It rained, windy rain for 4 days. And they are disappointed on me that I didn't get them the sunrise and sunset pictures.
Because you didn't bring out the
So,
sun.
excuse my language, so I'm a shitty photographer. You know?
Yeah.
But that is actually what we are facing.
Yes.
You know, sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you do something like this? Why am I hiring you? Well, the weather gods said differently.
I think there are challenges you face out there. And I'm not discrediting phone photos. Yes, it's chance, it's luck sometimes that you're at the perfect place, the perfect time, with the perfect lighting, and you can even get it wrong with the phone. Okay, so I just feel that photography per se is really important.
Yeah,
it's really, really important. Much as we have the phones and everything else, taking out the time to invest in it is a good thing and give good value for it, because this will help you market and sell the destination, the place much better. Now, you talked about copy pasting. For us, what we do generally is we get a photographer, pay them good value of their money, and they get photos for us that we are able to use with our agents and people out there that are able to use this when they are selling or when they go to meet people face to face. Yeah, and at least you know that it was paid for.
It's exclusive.
Yes, it's exclusive, and they know that Volcanoes Safaris has. You know, these are the images that are coming out from this company, and they're being used. And someone can
trace the origin.
Yes, and they can trace the origin. And of course, yes, they'll ask you who's your photographer, and you're able to mention and credit them for their work, because they do good work. Yeah. They really do good work. Yes, they do good work.
Okay, that's good. I'd like to bring in Brian, maybe just to go back to a discussion that we're having, but probably just twist it around a bit. Apart from the behind the scenes, I do see photographers that are now, in the moment of taking the shot, switching to video, capturing a bit of motion and then going back to taking the shot. That's a trend that I kind of see happening now. Do you feel like, have you maybe added video to your resume? Do you do a bit of that as well?
Considering my background in aerial photography, that's more of, with aerial photography, you need to tell a story. There has to be a story. Everybody thinks, get up there, fly the way it is, but it has to be a story. And normally with aerial photos, 90% of the time it has to be a video. It's more of video related to tell the bigger picture. Yes, you can get up there, take an aerial shot and all that, but sometimes a photo doesn't speak volumes, but a video does. But now when it comes to DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, it's more of, it now goes back to the age-old question, video versus photo. Someone is like, me, I'm perfect at. And these are all two different concepts, by the way.
Yeah.
You can never shift from a photo and take a perfect. There's so many variables that are there. So by the time someone is trying, that's why sometimes once a client gives you maybe, let's say, a job to do, and they're like, we need A, B, C, D, then the person will say, but you can just take a video, then from there you pick a photo out of it. But it's very, very different. The two things do not come together. Now, as you're coming, I'm sure Jonathan and Peter will get to know this about the shutter speed and all that. Those are two different things. While shooting birds, the same shutter speed won't be the same.
You'd have to change. Yeah.
Exactly, definitely. So this is what a client will not get to understand. But now, nowadays, the trend is photos and videos for you to get out there, to get because the client will be like, I need maybe, let's say, 1,000 photos and I need about, let's say, 100 videos. But what will you have to do? You have to deliver and you have to jump on board.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the thing here is that, for one, I don't have, this is a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
I really, you know, it has, I see the value in it, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a challenge and it's a nightmare because
A very big one.
I want my photos, I deliver, and also, as you said, you know, there you need to do the videos.
Yes.
If you're professionally going to do a job out in the parks, you're covering whatever's. If you are going to do it in a short period of time and to the best quality, you need two people.
Yeah.
You need a photographer and you need a video guy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because as you said, you can't back up the elephants and do the video.
Yeah.
Definitely. You just can't.
So it's either or. I have when I'm trying, you miss out on so much, and then nothing comes out of it.
Exactly. And now it goes back to the equipment you carry with you. Most times, if you're a single operator, it becomes quite challenging for you to run two camera setups at the same time. And most times, if there are different cameras, that is a whole game of its own.
Yeah.
Because one camera is not going to be the same as the other one. And by the time, let me go into the technical terms, you might be shooting at 100th of a second on another one, on let's say a Sony, but on a Canon, you might have to drop down to about 160th. And you cannot transfer what you're shooting that side. And ISOs now come because different cameras handle light differently.
Yeah.
So these are the variables that you have to consider. And sometimes when a client gives you business, yes, you accept the business, you go to do it, but they're not taking into consideration of how many operators you're going to what? You're going to jump on board. Yes, you're going to take photos, but you'll say my stronghold is photos. I do very well at photos.
Yeah.
And you'll say now, who does video? I can say maybe Jonathan, please come on board. Help me with the what? With the videos. Because sometimes when you're shooting wildlife, you have to constantly keep shooting.
Yeah.
By the time you keep now flipping back and forth from video to, you're already missing the moment and you're missing the
You're
action.
missing both sides.
Exactly. For instance, if you're to go to, I don't know about Uganda, I haven't yet seen any elephant shots of that dust. You've seen those dust shots. Exactly. If you're to go to Kenya, for instance, a client wants that specific shot. Yes, you've tracked down the elephant. For instance, you've been on the shoot for about an hour or two for a game drive. And this window is closing because most of these wildlife have patterns. They might be very active in the morning. During the hot times, they are literally dormant. And you'll have to track them down again in the evening. So when they're basking, I think it's called basking. Is it basking or something? Yeah. So I just imagine a situation whereby it has started to bask and you're now trying to jump between the video and photo. You're obviously going to miss the moment. Definitely. So,
Interesting.
Just to say, I think the pressure is, like they say, the pressure is getting worse.
Exactly. Unless you add pressure to the equation.
Yes, it's getting worse because the trends right now, like the trend right now actually is videos. To be very open with you, pictures are still in, yes, but then you will see Instagram tell you that reels are the in thing. TikTok is just about videos.
If you ask any photography first person, like someone who is consider themselves photography first, we have very serious beef with Instagram.
I tell you, I was reading about it. Of course, when you are, when you're selling and you're marketing, you have to keep up with the trends and learn new things and know what will capture someone's attention. So getting to realize that Instagram is now, reels are everything right now. I don't even have to follow you to see a reel. That's how far the algorithm takes me. You get. So it suggests for me things that I am supposed to see.
I totally agree. The marketing value of video today is enormous.
Yeah, it's enormous. It's quite huge. And it's funny that it's not even like 1 hour, 1 minute, 5 seconds. So it's just people want to see, okay, take me from here to here to here to here in a short video. Of course, some people are able to try to manipulate and put a few photos lined up together, which you can do and create a video, yes. But then videos, I know the pressure is on you guys to get a few,
And it goes back down to the story.
Yeah.
There's a story that is better told with a photo.
Yes.
And there's a story that is better told with a video. So now this is now where
We're in a weight
Where
scale.
can I go?
Where do we fall? I think we need them both.
You can't
So
do
I think
Absolutely,
it's a
yeah.
skill that a photographer should attain to do both photos and videos, because it lands you in a better space out there.
Yeah, but it's still dangerous to try to juggle both.
Yes, you juggle
Exactly.
both. Get the perfect, get the perfect shot that will captivate someone, at the same time tell the story behind the shot.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's on right now. I think that's what
I really like the idea about partnerships that you photography first, you're looking for someone who is video centered.
Yeah.
And if it's a project, you deliver it
you deliver.
as partners or something.
You have different skills, so
Yeah.
you can help each other.
Because you might find maybe Jonathan, his stronghold is photos.
Yes.
Maybe my stronghold is aerials. Peter's stronghold might come into videos. And you have to capitalize on that to at least deliver maximum impact of something.
Yeah.
And to encourage Peter.
I'm sure.
To encourage Peter. You
Yeah.
do not know until you try.
Yeah.
No, but
that's-
I do shoot video.
That's what I was going to say. I'm sure you have videos of your hand.
Yes, you do. And I think just
Yeah.
go out there, try something.
Yeah. No. I do. My camera does both. The nightmare and the challenge is, being a photographer at heart. For me, I don't want that video. I want that shot.
The shot is priority.
Passion.
Right. So for me, the video is a professional courtesy. Because I know you want it, and
Yes.
I know the marketing value of it. Even for myself, I can do it because I know it brings me cred.
Yes.
But for me personally, my photo that I do for me, it's the photo I want. So the challenge comes, as we've been saying, you just can't be there doing both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to decide
choose
when
your
you see the elephants coming. You have to decide that either I'm going to capture this on video,
Yeah.
or I'm going to take the perfect elephant shot in the sunset.
Yeah.
And you can't do both.
You can't do
You
both,
have to you have to choose.
make a decision.
And unless you have a standing order from a client that we really need videos or something, for me, I'm going to take that shot because
think
I want that photo on my wall.
I think Peter is passionate about
And
the
thing-
photo. But as Brian said, I think you can work together.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
But now you're coming to the professional solution to a problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is there, that's no
definitely.
problem.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
obvious.
But then you have another thing.
Oh, which one?
If I'm going to be,
Exactly.
fairly honest here,
Yes.
and I think you can agree with me. These are things that you don't want to say out loud,
Yeah.
but I will.
Okay.
You see, standing in that car, and you have a unique situation. Now, I want that unique photo, my signed photo. I don't want anyone else having
want
the
anyone
video.
Yeah.
That is it.
If
That is
anything,
it.
I also wanted that video with my name on it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have a one-in-a-lifetime shot, one-in-a-lifetime video,
Yeah.
and you don't want to. If you're going to be honest to yourself,
Yes.
Sure.
you don't want to
Yeah.
share it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You don't, right?
Okay.
Obviously, professionally here, we that cannot come in the way.
Yes.
If a client, we have 2 days of safari for a client who needs his material, we will go out 2, 3 people, a drone, a video, and a camera, and we will get the job done.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me a personal question, and if I'm out, I wouldn't take my friend with me to shoot the videos I want because it's his videos.
Exactly. Yes.
Challenge.
Now you know.
It's very tricky. It's a very tricky
But you
sphere.
agree,
I
right?
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
As
And
well.
everyone who's
100%.
honest with themselves would agree.
Exactly.
I like the honesty.
Yeah. Becky, maybe let's just go back now to, I know this debate between video and photo could go on for quite a bit. But let's go back to photography. Apart from the work that ends up on your socials and itineraries, where else are you using wildlife photography? And then just help me also understand what goes on in your head to now choose the image that you then use. What are you looking for? What are the attributes that you are looking for in a particular image?
Well, what does the photo say? What's the story behind that photo?
Okay.
See, you go out there and you as photographers take the time to get the perfect shot. So when I look at a picture, I think to myself, what will a client see? What will a client see when they see this picture? What will appeal to them? What will appeal to their senses? Will they travel when they see this photo? Will the photo scare them from, when they see the gorilla? Will it scare them, or will it feel, when you will find that people like baby gorillas a lot. They feel, oh, they're so nice, they're so cute, and that appeals to certain people. Then others would like to see that majestic gorilla, you get. So it's the story behind the photo. And then, is it high quality? Of course, you can't take a blurry photo and say, okay, this is it and what. So it has to be high quality. And aside the social media platforms, we use these photos to go out there for some fundraising, for conservation as well, because Volcanoes is big on conservation. You go out there and show people. It tells a story. These are the gorillas from the time Diane Fossey started, her journey in conservation. So they help you with fundraising. They help us with one-on-one marketing. When we do our sales calls and you're sitting down with a client, you're not just doing talk. It's a visual aid for them to see what they're actually going to see, or where they're going to take their clients and where the clients will stay. What flight, what kind of caravan will they take from Entebbe to Kihihi or Kasese? How does the road look like? Yeah. So it kind of paints a picture for them when you go out and meet people one-on-one. So it's not just the socials to get people to see things. It's also for fundraising, for for conservation, to one-on-one marketing, and then you can archive these photos for later. I may not be here tomorrow, but someone who will come after me will see the story of where we began and where we are. So it's documentation for them and collecting data, statistics as well. So all of these tie together. So it's not just, we're going to put it up on the website and, it's there on social media and what, but then you have these saved somewhere for later, So, you collect the memories for later, you get. So it's not just that, it's much, much more than just website, social media. And
so if you think about all these things you just said, and then you imagine clients are coming and giving you a call, giving you that speech and said, that's what we want.
Okay.
And then you're heading out for the parks and trying to find what they want.
Yeah.
There is I had an interesting conversation some time back touching just what you're saying. It's a big company, and their entire marketing strategy for now was targeting family. So family trips.
I think let's first put a pause on this. If you are already enjoying the conversation, now is a good time to hit that like button and also subscribe to the podcast. Peter Hogel will continue to develop his point in part B of this 3-part episode on wildlife, or call it nature photography. Together with Becky and Brian, we'll continue to digest this fascinating topic, including a segment on photography safaris and the delicate topic of mass tourism. The podcast is available on all major streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Republic, Pocket Casts, and I believe this particular episode will also be available on YouTube. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.